Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
In the heart of the sprawling metropolis of Eldoria, the air was thick with a sense of tension and unease. Towering skyscrapers cast long shadows over the streets, their glassy exteriors reflecting the chaotic life below. Humans bustled about, eyes averted and hushed conversations filled with whispers of fear. The once vibrant city was now a reminder of a society fractured by mistrust. At the center of it all stood the city Pedestal, an imposing structure meant to symbolize the dominance of humanity over the unknown. Atop this pedestal, a massive cage served as a grim warning to the citizens. Within the confines of that metallic prison lay a creature so different from them, yet, in so many ways, alarmingly similar. This was Zarek, the alien captured during the Great Conflict, now displayed as a trophy of sorts, a show of power to keep the populace in line. Kaveh, a young man whose heart still dared to feel, was drawn to the pedestal like a moth to a flame. Despite the city's propaganda and the dehumanizing language used to describe Zarek, Kaveh often found himself wandering the streets surrounding the cage, deeply conflicted within. Every day, Kaveh watched as passers-by threw scornful glances and hurling insults at the creature trapped in metal. He stood transfixed, heart aching for the being that the city had reduced to a mere spectacle. On this particular day, the sky was overcast, thick and ominous clouds looming overhead as if mirroring the grim atmosphere in the streets. A loud clang echoed through the air as one of the guards banged a truncheon against the bars of the cage. "Keep moving. There's nothing to see here." The harsh voice startled Kaveh out of his reverie. He stepped back, heart racing, suddenly self-conscious under the watchful gazes of the crowd. Yet, with each shout, a spark ignited inside him. Why was Zarek being punished? What had he done to deserve this fate? The questions persisted, and a deep-seated urge to protect the alien took root in Kaveh's heart. The crowd began to disperse, leaving Kaveh alone for a moment beside the cage. It was then that Zarek's vivid eyes locked onto his. Time slowed as they stared, a silent understanding bridging the gap between two worlds. There was something indescribable about those eyes. They spoke of tales untold. Kaveh could see the flicker of hope and resignation within them, feelings that resonated on a level he could never fully articulate. Then, a strong gust of wind stirred through the alley, and amidst the growing shadows, Kaveh quickly glanced around, his breath hitching in anticipation. Would anyone notice if he took a step closer? He leaned toward Zarek, curiosity swirling with an acute realization that he could not walk away without doing something. "Hey," Kaveh whispered tentatively, finally speaking out loud to the creature, as if hoping his voice could bridge the divide. "I know this isn't right." Suddenly, the ground beneath seemed to shake, as an alarm blared in the distance, a stark reminder of the city's iron grip on emotions. Panic set in, cutting through the serenity that had enveloped him moments before. Across the street, a group of citizens gathered, voices rising in panic. News had spread, and people screamed about the alien threat returning to the streets. Sirens wailed and the atmosphere thickened with fear. Zarek's eyes widened, and Kaveh felt something shift in the air. It was a slight change, a ripple that seemed to reverberate between them. In that split second, an unexpected moment of connection solidified into resolve. The cage rattled as Kaveh stepped back, glancing one last time at Zarek, who held his gaze with a newfound urgency. He knew he couldn't let anyone harm him again. In that moment, a plan began to form. One way or another, he had to find a way to help Zarek escape this nightmare. Kaveh's heart raced as he approached the cage, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. He had never acted so recklessly before, yet the overwhelming appeal of the alien's presence tugged at him like a gravitational force. He glimpsed at the shimmering skin of Zarek, reflecting hues of blue, green, and gold in the dim glow of the street lights, an alien beauty that seemed to defy the fear propagated by the city. Once again, their eyes locked, an intense exchange that spoke volumes beneath the surface. Kaveh swallowed hard, feeling both exhilaration and fear as he stood so close to being labeled a monster by society. He looked around, ensuring no guards were watching as he spoke. "Why are they doing this to you?" Kave's voice trembled slightly, laced with a mixture of determination and compassion. Zarek's gaze softened, revealing a depth of emotion Kave had only seen in his own reflection during moments of despair. Slowly, the alien's long, slender fingers reached toward the bars, a gesture that invited trust amidst fear. Kave felt an inexplicable connection, as if the threads of their disparate fates were weaving together in that moment. Not the monster they claim, Zarek finally managed to articulate, his voice silken yet tinged with melancholy. Though the words were simple, they held a weight of heartbreak. I was a guardian of my people. Kave's breath caught in his throat, the revelation wrapping around him like a warm cloak. Guardian? What do you mean? He pressed, curiosity overshadowing his initial fear. I sought to protect my world from destruction. Until they came for me. Zarek's voice faltered, the emotional strain visible in his eyes. They painted me as a threat. A warning for others. As he spoke, Kave noticed the flicker of emotions in Zarek's iridescent features. Fear, sadness, and anger intertwined, forming a complex tapestry of experiences that Kave couldn't fully understand but deeply empathized with. Your people took you, because of what? You weren't trying to harm anyone. Kave felt anger swell within him at the injustice of it all. They're wrong to treat you like this. Zarek's expression shifted slightly, a hint of what Kave could only describe as hope emerging from the depths of despair. To you, I am a being of flesh and thought. To them, I am a symbol of their fears. I wanted to share knowledge, not conflict. Kave leaned closer, entranced by the alien's raw honesty. He couldn't shake the feeling that Zarek was more alive than anyone in this city had dared to acknowledge. He could see the truth flickering in Zarek's gaze, a truth the city had obliterated in its quest for control. With hesitation, Kave reached through the bars, allowing the tips of his fingers to brush against Zarek's. The contact was electric. Warmth traveled through him, igniting a rush of determination. I want to help you, he whispered urgently. This isn't your place. You don't belong in this cage. Zarek's eyes widened as hope mingled with disbelief. For a moment, they simply stood there, united by their shared understanding, a human and an alien against a world of shadows. Before either could speak again, the sirens blared louder, reverberating in Kave's chest like the thunder of impending doom. He felt a collective shiver run through the crowd, fear settling over them like a cloud. I have to go, Kave said reluctantly, pulling back from the cage. But I'll come back. I promise I'll find a way to set you free. Zarek nodded, a flicker of determination igniting within his depths. I will wait for the one who sees. As Kave hurried away, his mind raced with possibilities and risks. He had never done anything like this before, and the weight of his decision bore heavily upon him. But something deep inside whispered to him, urging him forward. This wasn't just about an alien in a cage. It was about two souls yearning for freedom, one trapped in the constraints of bars, the other in a society that had forgotten how to feel. The following days passed in a blur of anxiety and anticipation for Kave. Each moment spent away from Zarek felt like an eternity, the weight of responsibility heavy on his shoulders. Kave found it increasingly difficult to concentrate at work, his thoughts drifting back to the alien hidden behind the bars of the city pedestal. He spent long nights planning, scribbling ideas on scraps of paper, brewing with possibilities. Kave started to gather information about the city's anti-alien security forces, studying their patrol routes and shift changes. He would need to know the patterns to devise a successful escape plan for Zarek. Yet, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of amber, Kave's nerves frayed whenever he thought of visiting the pedestal again. His heart raced with the thought of being caught, and what would happen if they were discovered. The more he thought about it, the more he realized this danger was a mere reflection of his emotions toward Zarek, a vulnerability he hadn't quite prepared for. One evening, Kave observed as the oppressive gray clouds swirled in the distance, signaling an imminent storm. A strange omen, perhaps. He slipped out of his apartment, determination fueling his steps as he made his way back to the city pedestal. This time, he wouldn't leave without a plan. As Kave approached, the familiar sight of Zarek within the cage tightened around his heart. Without hesitation, he moved closer, keeping watch for any nearby guards. Their previous connection surged between them like electric currents, and he felt the weight of every moment they had shared. "Zarek," Kaveh breathed, urgency lacing his voice. "I've been working on a plan. I need to know about your cage. How does it work?" Zarek shifted closer, a hint of curiosity replacing the despair that had lingered for so long. The bars are reinforced with a material designed to maintain control, but their weakness lies in the locks. They are manual, requiring the guard's keys. Without them, the cage is unyielding, yet it is not impenetrable. Kaveh's mind raced. If I can get those keys, we could create a distraction, one that will give us enough time to escape together. A flicker of hope sparked in Zarek's eyes. "You would risk so much for my freedom." Kaveh nodded fervently. "We both deserve to be free. This isn't just about you being an alien imprisoned. It's about all of us living without fear. We can show them that there's more to understand." As they plotted together, Kaveh shared snippets about his life, about the people he loved and dreamed of a better future, a future where fear would not dictate boundaries. Zarek reciprocated, recounting tales of his own home world, of vast landscapes and cultures woven into harmony, far removed from the chaos of city life. Each shared story wove a bond, forging a path beyond the cages of their existences. However, the tension outside continued to brew. News of a potential alien uprising filtered through the streets, fear clouding every corner, sending shivers coursing through the city. Guards began to crack down harder, forcing citizens to remain on edge. Kaveh knew time was running short. As the evening shifted into darkness, Kaveh hesitated for a moment, taking in the weight of the stairs and the pedestal towering above, a symbol of oppression but also a platform for hope. "I'll come back at midnight tomorrow," he whispered to Zarek. "Be strong." The alien nodded, a silent acknowledgement of their bond solidifying under the shadows of uncertainty. Yet as Kaveh turned to leave, the glint of metal caught his eye. Two guards stood not far from him, eyes sharp and restless, sharpening the dread knotting in his stomach. In an instant, he was frozen, blending into the night. "Did you hear about the aliens' escape attempt?" One guard grumbled in a low tone. "They want to turn the city against us. We'll have to tighten our grip, make an example of anyone who dares to rebel." Kaveh's blood ran cold. The very words that spilled from their mouths ignited an ember of urgency within him. They were not just guarding Zarek, they were paralyzed by fear. Fear that would fuel corruption. He could see the way they regarded Zarek as merely a threat, a figment of their imagination that only served to deepen their hate. With his heart pounding, Kaveh slipped away into the surrounding alleyways, running through the plans in his mind repeatedly, determination overshadowing trepidation. He would return with a distraction and freedom in hand, for Zarek and for every soul stifled by fear within the city walls. But the stakes had never felt higher, and Kaveh knew they would need every ounce of courage and cleverness they could muster. The night draped over Eldoria like a thick blanket, the oppressive silence broken only by the distant sound of sirens and the occasional murmur of a passing patrol. Kaveh paced in his small apartment, heart racing as anxiety clawed at his insides. Midnight was drawing near, the hour he had set to put his daring plan into motion. With a backpack slung over his shoulder and the outlines of the city detailed in his mind, Kaveh exited his home, making his way toward the city Pedestal. His heart thrummed against his ribcage as he mentally rehearsed each step of the plan. Create a distraction, grab the keys, and free Zarek. Upon arriving, the pedestal loomed above him, a symbol of both oppression and hope. Kaveh quickly ducked behind a nearby corner, scanning the area for guards. They were fewer tonight, perhaps lulled into complacency by the quiet, but all it would take was one mistake. With a deep breath, Kaveh slinked toward the guard's post, where he had observed them lounging earlier. He crouched low, carefully watching as they bantered amongst themselves, completely unaware of his presence. The earlier conversation echoed in his mind. He needed to seize the moment. From within his backpack, Kaveh pulled out a smoke grenade, a piece of equipment he had gathered from his old connections in the underground. A surge of adrenaline propelled him forward as he activated the device, tossing it just beyond the guard's view. A thick cloud of smoke erupted, swirling like a tempest, obscuring their vision. Wide-eyed, the guard shouted, instinctively reaching for their batons. The chaos unfolded just as Kaveh had hoped. Voices raised, confusion rampant. "Get over there!" One guard barked, fumbling out of the obscured area to witness the source of the disturbance. Kaveh seized the opportunity, darting toward the pedestal. Inside the cage, Zarek sensed a sudden shift in the air, the cries of alarm filtering through the haze. With determination surging in his veins, he stood ready, awaiting the reunion. Kaveh rushed to the bars, heart hammering in his chest. "Zarek, I'm here. I've got the distraction." Zarek's eyes lit up with a mix of hope and urgency. "Quickly, the keys." Kaveh dove behind the guard's post, frantically searching through the scattered belongings. His hands finally closed around a set of keys, cold metal clinging to his palm. The sound of footsteps echoed nearer, urgency clawing at him to act fast. He rushed back to the cage, fumbling with the keys as he found the correct one and inserted it into the lock, the click sounding like a death knell amidst the chaos around him. The lock turned. He pushed the door open, and Zarek stepped forth, his tall frame towering over Kaveh, an alien made human in this moment of shared rebellion. "Thank you," Zarek breathed, his voice a low rumble, filled with weighty gratitude. "Now we must move." Yet just as they began to slip away, the call of a guard shattered the air. "Over here, in the smoke. They're trying to escape." Kaveh felt the panic arise as voices grew louder and footsteps converged on their location. There was no room for hesitation. "This way," he urged, leading Zarek through the winding paths of darkened alleys, adrenaline fueling their flight. As they ran, Kaveh's heart pounded not only from exertion, but from the realization of how close they were to freedom. The city walls loomed behind them, oppressive yet promising a new beginning. Each growling shout of guards echoed through the narrow streets, an ugly reminder of what they were escaping. "We need to find cover," Kaveh shouted, glancing around wildly for an escape route. "There, that warehouse." He spotted a dilapidated building whose entrance yawned open like a cavern, dark and inviting. The pair darted inside just as a group of guards rounded the corner, shouts trailing behind them as they chased into the night. Inside the warehouse, the air was heavy with dust, remnants of crates and old machinery lining the walls. They pressed against the cold metal of a stack of crates, hearts racing in unison. "I can hear them," Kaveh whispered, his voice barely above a breath. They huddled together, anticipating the worst. "Stay quiet," Zarek urged softly, his eyes narrowing as he listened, attuned to the distant sounds echoing through the warehouse. "Let them pass." Kaveh nodded, feeling the warmth of Zarek's presence, grounding him amidst the chaos. With the cacophony of shouts rising and falling just outside, every second stretched long beneath the tension. As the voices of the guards receded into the distance, Kaveh felt a wave of relief wash over him. They were not safe yet, but they had bought themselves time. In the silence that followed, Kaveh turned to Zarek, their eyes meeting, the connection deepening. "We did it," he whispered, a smile breaking through the tension. "We escaped together." Zarek returned the smile, a flicker of warmth igniting his features. "This is only the beginning. Freedom lies within our grasp." Kaveh felt hope rising in his chest, like a beacon piercing through the darkness. They had made it this far, but now they needed to find a way to truly escape the city and discover what awaited them beyond. The warehouse fell into a tense silence, the air thick with anticipation as Kaveh and Zarek pressed against the stacked crates, listening for the sounds of pursuit. Kaveh's heart still raced, pumping adrenaline through his veins as he glanced at Zarek, whose gaze remained focused on the entrance, alert and poised. "Now what?" Kaveh whispered, breaking the stillness. "We can't stay here forever." Zarek turned to him, his expression resolute. "We must find another way out of the city. There are safe houses outside its limits, places where those like me can find refuge. But we need to move quickly." Kaveh nodded. Their escape was only the first step. The thought of the city slipping away filled him with both excitement and fear. "Which way?" he asked, eager to push past the danger that awaited them. "Through the back of the warehouse," Zarek instructed, gesturing toward a door that led into the shadows. "It leads out to a network of underground passages. We can evade the guards if we remain hidden." Together, They slipped out of the cramped space of crates, making their way toward the door. Kaveh felt the coolness of the concrete beneath his fingers as he grasped the knob, pushing it open slowly to stifle any sound. The dim hallway stretched before them, dank and uninviting, yet filled with a promise of escape. Kaveh took a deep breath, heart pounding as they ventured forward. "Stay close," he whispered, glancing at Zarek who followed, his presence a steadying force alongside him. They moved cautiously down the corridor, the darkness swallowing their figures as they crept past rusted machinery and debris. The underground passages wound like a labyrinth, with the faint glow of lights flickering now and then. The world above felt a distant memory, each footstep pulling them deeper into the unknown. As they navigated the twists and turns, a sense of freedom washed over Kaveh. The sound of sirens faded into the background, the frantic shouts of guards lessening. It felt as if they were slipping away from the chains that had bound them both, embracing a weightless existence that promised adventure. "Do you miss your home?" Kaveh asked quietly, breaking the silence as they walked. "Your planet, I mean." Zarek paused for a moment, contemplating his response. "I miss the tranquility of my world, the beauty of endless skies, and the songs of my people. I had a life there, but I do not long for it now. What matters is to find a new beginning." Kaveh nodded, understanding the weight of what Zarek had endured. "We'll carve out a new path for ourselves," he promised. "One where we both belong." They continued through the dark tunnels, making their way to an exit that led into the outskirts of the city. The vibration of the ground beneath them resonated, stirring anticipation in Kaveh's chest. But then, a faint sound echoed through the hall, a distant voice, breaking the stillness. "Let's go this way," Zarek urged, sensing the tension in the air. They turned abruptly, darting into a smaller passage that veered off the main corridor. The sound of footsteps grew fainter, but not before a guard's shout rang out through the tunnels. "Over there! They've gone this way!" Kaveh's heart raced again, but this time it was with determination. They couldn't be caught now. "We need to move," he urged, picking up speed as they zigzagged through the passageways. As they pushed forward, Kaveh felt a sense of unity, a bond forged in the heat of their shared escape. With every ounce of energy, they sprinted through the darkness, adrenaline pumping through their veins as they navigated the twisting turns. Suddenly, a faint light beckoned from the end of the passage, an exit. Kaveh felt hope surge within him. "There!" he pointed, and they rushed toward it. Bursting into the night, they emerged into the cool evening air, stars twinkling above them like scattered jewels. Kaveh inhaled sharply. It was a world transformed from the oppressive shadows of Eldoria. "Now where?" Kaveh asked, looking around as the distant sounds of sirens began to fade behind them. Zarek scanned the area, a glimmer of urgency in his eyes. "A safe house lies beyond the outer fields. We must reach it before they regroup or find us." Without hesitation, they began to move, weaving between patches of shadow and moonlight. The fresh scent of grassy fields surrounded them as they sprinted onward, the thrill of freedom pouring through their veins. As they neared the outskirts of the city, Kaveh glanced at Zarek, whose expression was a mixture of fear and exhilaration. It was in that moment that Kaveh felt their destinies entwined, binding them together against the world's uncertainties. They reached a cluster of trees, their silhouettes rising like guardians against the backdrop of the night sky. "This way," Zarek urged, and they plunged into the grove, the shadows enveloping them as they sought refuge. Finally, they paused to catch their breath, hearts beating wildly in the silence. "Did we make it?" Kaveh gasped, the weight of their escape washing over him like a tide. Zarek turned to Kaveh, the glow of the stars illuminating his features. "Yes, we are free, but our journey is far from over. We must find those who seek to protect our kind." Kaveh nodded, determination settling within him. "Together, we'll find our place. No more cages, not for either of us." As the stars twinkled above, they shared a moment of newfound connection, knowing that together, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The underbrush rustled around them, the soft sounds of the night mingling with the racing of Kaveh and Zarek's hearts. After catching their breaths beneath the overhanging branches of the trees, they shared a moment of silent understanding. Two souls joined by fate in a world filled with shadows. Are you sure this is the right way? Kaveh asked, glancing around as they prepared to leave the grove's cover. A palpable tension lingered in the air, but the stars above provided a glimmer of hope, inspiring a flicker of resolve. Zarek nodded, confidence rising in his tone. In the outskirts, there exists a group of rebels, a coalition that advocates for interspecies harmony. They will help us. A coalition? Kaveh asked, intrigued and curious. Where do we find them? They dwell in a hidden settlement, known as Cheshama, the Eyes of the Spirits, Zarek explained. It is a place where those who oppose the city's tyranny can unite, find refuge, and dream of a future free from fear. Kaveh's heart stirred with possibility, and he took a deep breath, envisioning a community that welcomed both humans and aliens alike. Let's go, then. We have to find them. With renewed determination, they made their way through the dense thicket, the moonlight casting playful shadows along their path. Kaveh could feel the weight of hope propelling them forward, an anticipation of something greater just beyond the horizon. After trekking through rugged terrain and crossing meandering streams beneath a blanket of stars, they stumbled upon a clearing just as dawn began to wash the horizon with soft hues of pink and gold. There, hidden amidst the trees, lay a series of humble structures, their designs earthy and welcoming, a stark contrast to the cold, imposing architecture of Eldoria. This must be it, Kaveh murmured, excitement bubbling within him. Can you sense their presence? Yes, Zarek replied, his posture strikingly alert. But we must remain cautious. The city's forces may have discovered our escape. As they approached the settlement, a sense of uncertainty gnawed at Kaveh's insides. But as they entered the clearing, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman clad in tattered attire, her face determined yet warm. State your intentions, she said firmly, her piercing gaze assessing them both. There was strength in her stance, a guardian of the sanctuary. We come in peace, Kaveh quickly replied, stepping forward. I am Kaveh, and this is Zarek. We seek refuge, and to aid in your cause against the city's tyranny. We long for unity between our peoples. The woman's expression softened, but her caution remained. My name is Serena. Many have come before you, seeking solace. But we must be discerning. The city's guards do not relent easily, nor do they forgive. Zarek took a step forward, his voice resolute. We have faced their oppression. Together, we can show them the strength of our unity. I am not a monster. I am more than the cage in which I was kept. Serena studied them for a long moment, her expression a mixture of resolve and empathy. Come then, if you speak the truth. You will be safe among us, for now. Kaveh and Zarek exchanged a glance of relief as Serena led them deeper into the settlement, welcoming them within the sturdy walls of the hidden enclave. The atmosphere was bustling with life, aliens and humans alike working side by side, tending to gardens, crafting tools, and sharing laughter as they broke bread together. Here, we strive to provide hope to those who have lost everything, Serena explained, gesturing toward a gathering space where members of the coalition shared stories and strategies for rebellion. Each contribution matters. Each hand extends a bridge toward a better future. As Kaveh absorbed the warmth radiating from the community, a sense of belonging washed over him. This was what he had dreamed of, a world where fear did not dictate existence. Join us, Serena advised, looking to Zarek. Together we will foster knowledge and understanding. Our past may have been marred by misunderstanding, but our future can be forged anew. Kaveh felt a surge of resolve as he realized their joint mission was beginning to take shape. They could become catalysts for change, transforming their world from strife to solidarity. Count us in, he replied with conviction. We are strong together. Days turned into weeks as Kaveh and Zarek settled into their new lives, learning the intricate workings and inner dynamics of the coalition. Kaveh found himself immersed in community efforts, sharing stories of human resilience and determination, while Zarek activated others to share their narratives as well. Words transformed lives, building bridges towards understanding. Yet in the quiet moments beneath the stars, when they found themselves gazing into each other's eyes, Kaveh couldn't shake an underlying tension. For every moment of hope brought a reminder of the challenges ahead. While they had found safety, the threat of the city's grasp loomed perpetually. "Do you think they'll come for us?" Kaveh asked one night, worry lacing his tone. "What if the city hunts us down here?" Zarek's gaze turned thoughtful, the embers of determination sparking within him. "They may come, but our strength lies in numbers. Together, we'll defend this cause, united against oppression." As the cool night enveloped them, Kaveh felt a stirring within him, a sense of deepening connection he hadn't anticipated. They were more than comrades in arms. They were forging bonds beyond survival, stepping closer to a future shrouded in possibility, a vision that blossomed anew in every shared moment. "Whatever lies ahead, we face it together," Kaveh whispered, feeling his heart swelling with hope. Zarek nodded, the flicker of understanding passing between them as comfort settled in the embrace of stars overhead, two beings now intertwined, bound by purpose and a journey yet to unfold. The days turned into weeks, and Kaveh and Zarek became integral parts of the coalition. They strategized, shared knowledge, and learned the intricacies of interspecies cooperation. Each dawn brought a renewed sense of purpose, but a darker shadow loomed on the horizon. Reports filtered in that the city had intensified its search for the pair. One fateful night, when the cycle of calm was disrupted by a distant rumble of engines, Kaveh and Zarek stood on the outskirts of the settlement. The air was tense, charged with a mix of determination and fear. The city guards were advancing, their vehicles slicing through the darkness like predators seeking their prey. "We must prepare," Serena said, her expression steely. "If they come for you, they will come for all of us. We cannot let fear dictate our fate." Kaveh exchanged a glance with Zarek, the weight of the moment evident. "We can't allow them to overpower us. This is our chance to stand together and expose their tyranny," Kaveh declared, the fire in his heart igniting. As the coalition gathered under the ancient trees, Kaveh and Zarek stood at the forefront, rallying their allies. "We may be different, but together we are stronger than any fear they propagate," Kaveh shouted, his voice resonating with a sense of urgency. With the resolve of a united front, they prepared to defend their home and their vision of unity. The sounds of approaching vehicles filled the air, growing louder as the city's guards neared. When the first wave of guards burst into the clearing, chaos erupted. Kaveh and Zarek fought side by side, the physical threat binding them closer together. Kaveh swung a makeshift weapon, while Zarek harnessed his innate abilities, using technology and agility honed from the days of his captivity. Yet amidst the fierce battle, Kaveh and Zarek's connection deepened in the face of adversity. Each time they had each other's back, their trust solidified, a bond that transcended the cage from which Zarek had escaped, reaffirming that they were nothing without each other. As the fighting reached its peak, the head of the guard battalion emerged, eyes cold with disdain. "You think you can challenge the might of our city?" he sneered, disbelief evident in his tone. "We do more than challenge." Zarek stepped forward, speaking with a thunderous confidence that filled the clearing. "We unite for a future unmarred by fear." With that, the air crackled with energy. Zarek unleashed a surge of powerful energy, defending Kaveh and the coalition from incoming attacks. The tide turned as inspiration surged among the rebels, their unity bolstering their strength. Kaveh watched as his comrades rallied behind him, drawn forth by Zarek's bravery. He stood taller, feeling a shared purpose pulse through the air. Together, they navigated the chaos, fighting back with everything they had. In that climactic moment, they became a powerful force against oppression. The guards faltered, realizing their efforts would be in vain. The resolve born from their collective struggle unfolded, like petals of a flower before the rising sun. In the battle's aftermath, the scattered remnants of the guard force withdrew, the city retreating as whispers of the coalition's triumph filled the air. Kaveh and Zarek stood at the center of the settlement, bruised yet unbroken, surrounded by their comrades. "This is just the beginning," Serena proclaimed, a spark igniting in her eyes. "We have shown the city we will no longer be silenced. Together, we will rebuild. Together, we will make a world where harmony between our kinds is the norm." Kaveh turned to Zarek, off filling his chest. "We did it. he breathed, a smile breaking across his face. Zarek nodded, eyes shining with determination. Together, we forged the dawn of a new era, a future free from bars and cages. As the first rays of dawn broke through the canopy, casting light over the settlement, Kaveh and Zarek stood united, two souls woven together, embodying the promise of hope and resilience. In the heart of Eldoria, freedom flourished, and the sound of laughter, love, and possibility echoed as a testament to their journey through light and darkness, forever marking the beginning of a shared legacy.